The Stranger in the Rain. Hey, night listener. Tonight, we enter the shadows. Dim streetlights flicker like failing memories. Rain races down the windows in panicked streaks. Somewhere in the alley behind you, footsteps echo deliberate, slow, too heavy to ignore. You don't turn around yet. You know what's there, even before you see it. This story isn't new. It's just been hiding. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from tonight? And are you drawn to the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now, lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You see him first in the reflection, not in the mirror, but in the rain-spattered driver's side window. A man tall, still, watching, the kind of stillness that doesn't come from peace but precision. He's not holding a weapon, just a small, waterproof envelope, sealed in black wax. He taps it once against your window. You roll it down 2 inches. Do I know you? He smirks, like he knows something you've forgotten. You used to. His coat is soaked. He doesn't seem to mind. You don't recognize the face, but something behind his eyes, it scrapes a part of your brain you've left untouched for decades. Take it, he says. Then forget we ever spoke. Or don't. Your past's been asking questions. You take the envelope and drive away. Fast. But something stays behind in that parking lot. Something you're not sure you'll get back. Later, in your apartment. You dry your hands before you open the seal. The black wax breaks with a snap. Inside, there's a single photograph. Your face, 15 years younger, standing outside a motel that no longer exists. But you don't remember being there. Worse, someone's standing beside you, his arms slung over your shoulder like a friend. It's the man from the parking lot. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The corners of the photo are smudged with ash. There's handwriting on the back. They always return to the scene. Your hands start to shake. You remember the motel only after you've convinced yourself you never stayed there. You remember it burning. You remember running. You don't remember who you left behind. That night, you dream of fire, of screams muffled by walls, of a door you could have opened, but didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You wake up to a knock. It's 3:17 a.m. You check the peephole. No one's there. Just a glove on your welcome mat, black leather, cracked, drenched in rainwater. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The photograph you never took. You don't remember bending to pick up the glove, but now it's on your kitchen table, beside the photograph, leaking rain onto a stack of unpaid bills and a coaster from a bar that closed 3 years ago. The glove is old, frayed at the fingertips. You run your hand along the stitching. Something's inside it, wedged deep into the thumb. You pull it free. A key. Not just any key. A motel key. The kind they don't make anymore, room 11, engraved in worn brass, with a dull green plastic tag swinging from it like a guillotine. You don't believe in signs. You've told yourself that too many times, but the number scratches at the inside of your skull. Room 211. You open your laptop, search for the motel, the one from the photo. It's not listed on any map, no website, no reviews. But when you tilt the screen just right, the reflection of your face flickers. Your eyes look older than they should. What if you've been the suspect all along? You scroll forums, conspiracy threads, urban explorers. You find it mentioned once Devlin's motel, off Route 9, burned down in '08. One survivor, never named. You sit back. The photograph still shows two people, which means someone lied or someone else survived. The glove has a faint scent ash and something darker, something human. You close your eyes and see a hallway engulfed in smoke. You see your hands pushing someone away. You hear coughing, screaming. Yours? It's hard to tell anymore. The phone rings. Not your cell. The landline. The one no one has the number for. You answer with more silence than words. A woman's voice, soft and familiar. You shouldn't have opened it. Who is this? Room 211, she says. It's still there. In you. You just boarded it up. The line goes dead. You stare at the receiver. Your palm is sweaty. The ticking of your kitchen clock becomes unbearable, like a metronome counting down something you forgot to prepare for. You pull out the photograph again. There's a shape behind you in the image. Blurry, half shadow, like a third person trying not to be seen. And suddenly, you remember the hallway leading to room 211. You remember 3 voices, but not their names. You needed to forget. You were told to forget. You open a drawer and pull out a journal you haven't touched in years. Taped inside the back cover is a matchbook, Devlin's Motel, Route 9. The phone number is scorched, unreadable. Beneath it, in your own handwriting, don't open the door. Not again. You flip back to the front of the journal. The first entry is dated 15 years ago. The last entry is blank, a clean page waiting for you to remember something it already knows. It was never about finding answers. It was about hiding from them. Everyone remembers you wrong. You drive out before sunrise. No GPS, just memory and a gnawing ache in your gut. Route 9 is mostly forgotten, lined with frostbitten trees and gas stations that don't take cards. The further you go, the more the modern world fades, like your phone signal knows what you're trying to outrun. 30 miles out, you see it, a rusted road sign half swallowed by vines. Devlin's Motel, all welcome. Vacancy? The arrow points toward a road that looks more like a scar than a street. The motel is gone, at least most of it. You park where the office used to be, crushed under ivy and time, but the lot is still there. Faded yellow lines, a cracked sidewalk leading to what's left of a burned-out structure, the husk of rooms 201, 215. Room 211 should be there, and it is. Barely. The doors still intact, somehow blackened, warped, but upright. The numbers faded, but you trace it with your finger. 2, 1, 1. You don't have to use the key. You already know what's inside. The door creaks open, like it's been waiting. Charred walls, molded carpet. A broken television sits like a decapitated witness. You take 1 step, then 2. Something shifts in the corner. A photograph, same one. Your face, the stranger, same pose. You check your pocket. The original photo is still there. But this one is different. There's writing scrawled across your chest in thick black ink. They don't remember you, but they remember what you did. You stumble out of the room, wind slicing your face. You hear gravel shift behind you. Back again, a voice says, "You turn." It's the motel manager, except she's not supposed to be alive. Mrs. Halberd, greasy bun, permanent frown, same corduroy vest. She hasn't aged a day. She leans on the frame of the office door, sipping coffee from a mug that says, "World's okayest boss. You are Deore. Always show up looking like a ghost," she says. Then, act surprised when we remember. You falter. "You recognize me." She snorts, hard to forget the guy who disappeared the night the place lit up. Or the girl that screamed your name till the roof collapsed. The girl, her name was, it slips away again, slick as rain on windshield glass. Mrs. Halbert squints. You're still lying, even to yourself. You want to ask what she means, but she's already gone. One blink, and the office is hollowed out again. Roof caved in. A raccoon skitters through the ruins. You blink again. Her coffee mug is sitting on the step, still warm. You walk back to your car. The glove is gone from the passenger seat. In its place is a burned matchbook. On the back, if you want the truth, ask the dead. Your reflection in the rearview mirror doesn't blink when you do. It was never about who you were. It was about who you pretended not to be. The locked room in your memory. You don't drive home. You drive to the house you haven't thought about in a decade, the place where all the doors stayed shut, even when they weren't locked. Your childhood home. It's been abandoned for years. A sagging two-story hidden behind a stand of brittle trees. The porch sags under your weight. The key, unbelievably, still fits. You step into silence, a kind of silence you feel in your bones, like the air itself is holding its breath. Nothing has changed. The same warped wallpaper, yellowed by time and secrets, the same oil painting of a winter field above the fireplace, the one your mother never let you move. You take slow steps to the hallway closet. You remember standing here as a kid, eavesdropping on voices that didn't match your family's, behind the coats, behind the shelves, behind the false wall you convinced yourself you imagined. Is the door? It's smaller than it should be, padlocked, rusted, but your fingers know exactly what to do. You twist a wire hanger into the right shape. Insert, twist, snap. The door opens. The smell hits first mildew, old paper, and something faintly metallic. The room is tiny, bare concrete. A single bulb dangles from the ceiling. You see the chair. You see the table. You see the box. It's the box that undoes you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. It's an old shoebox, duct-taped shut. Your name scrawled across it in a child's handwriting. You cut the tape with your keys. Inside a stack of Polaroids, all the same girl. Early teens, dark hair, wide eyes. The date scribbled on each border is the same October 14th, 2008, the night Devlin's motel burned. Each photo shows her with someone else. Different men, different rooms. You're in one of them, your arm around her. The two of you smiling. Your eyes look hollow, like they're smiling for someone else. There's something else in the box. A voice recorder. You press play. No, you don't remember. That's the point. You made them take it. You begged to forget, but she remembered. She always remembered. That's why she had to click. Static. Then, you're not who you think you are. You never were. The bulb flickers. You look up and see writing on the ceiling in red ink, smeared like blood. Your mind is a crime scene. Everyone lies, especially the ones with nothing to gain. You back out of the room, breathing hard, the box still in your hands, and there she is, at the end of the hallway, older now, but the same eyes from the Polaroid. She says your name, not the one you use now, the one you thought you'd buried. It was never about forgetting. It was about who made you forget. Her voice was familiar, too familiar. You don't speak. You can't. The hallway stretches between you and her like a courtroom aisle, your body on trial, your mind gagged and cuffed. She's standing just outside the weak pool of light from the kitchen, her silhouette trembling like a VHS tape paused on a bad frame. I waited, she says softly. You try to respond, but your voice doesn't cooperate. There's static in your throat. You manage a whisper. How did you find me? She doesn't answer right away, just stares. Then, you gave me this address that night, before the fire. That can't be right. You didn't know this address back then. Your family moved here years after the motel burned down. You remembered wrong. You say, more to yourself than to her. No, she says, you remembered wrong, on purpose. She steps forward. Moonlight cuts across her face. You see the scar thin, curved, just beneath her left eye. Something inside you drops. You were in the room. You murmur, room 211. You lock the door. The silence after that is unbearable. She walks past you, slowly, like she's tracing old steps on a dance floor no one else can see. She enters the living room and picks up the box from the table. The photograph sits on top. Her fingers tremble as she touches her younger self's face. You don't even remember my name, do you? You hesitate, then say it haltingly, like it hurts Calla. She closes her eyes. At least you didn't erase everything. You sit across from her. The clock ticks like a countdown you forgot to set. She pulls something from her pocket, slides it across the table. It's another photograph. This time, there are 4 people. Her, you, the man from the parking lot, and someone else. A girl about 8. Big eyes, same scar. She's dead now, Calla says. Died thinking her brother never came back for her. Brother, you whisper. She nods slowly. She was your sister. I was your friend. And the man in the photo. Her voice lowers. He was the one who erased you. You grip the edges of the table. No, that's not possible. I never. Calla cuts you off. Everyone lied to you, but you begged for it. You paid for it. The words echo. Your reflection in the window turns away before you do. The key, the glove, the fire, the motel. You didn't forget. You erased. What did I do, you ask? Her eyes flash with something that hurts worse than blame pity. You survived. That was your crime. She reaches into the box and pulls out the voice recorder. Plays the last message again. You made them take it. You begged to forget. Then, click. New audio crackles through. A voice that sounds exactly like yours. She knows. If she talks, I'm finished. Calla watches you as it plays. You weren't a victim, she says. You were the reason we were in that motel at all. You feel it then. The whole weight of a memory clawing its way back. A suitcase, a bribe, a lie you rehearsed, a scream behind a locked door. It was never about healing. It was about hiding. The ticking clock stops. She's gone. Only the box remains. And a final note, scratched into the wood beneath the photographs. What you forget doesn't forgive you. The file that shouldn't exist. The next morning, you're not sure you slept at all. Time collapsed sometime between the click of the recorder and the moment Calla disappeared. You searched the house like a man looking for proof he wasn't hallucinating, but there are no footprints, no discarded coffee mugs, no signs that anyone else ever entered, except the box, still there, still full, still damning. You place it in a duffel and lock it in your trunk. Then you drive, not to the police, not yet. You head to the one place where records don't just die, the city archives. A squat brick building hidden behind a library. No cameras, no questions. Inside, the air smells like dust and denial. You flash an old ID you never got around to shredding journalist credentials. They wave you through. The public records clerk is half asleep. You ask for access to 2008 arson files, specifically for Devlin's motel. She taps keys, chews gum, then frowns. That file's restricted. Cleared by Superior Court back in 2010. Court order. Redacted. Weird. Right. Want me to check the microfiche? You nod. She disappears. You scan the room. A man is reading a newspaper 2 tables over. Not unusual, except the paper is upside down. He doesn't turn the page. The clerk returns, dropping a folder onto your desk like a dead animal. Weird thing, she says. File was marked as destroyed, but the microfiche is intact. Page 7's missing though. You flip through it. Incident report. 1 confirmed death, 2 survivors. Names classified. You and Kala, but not the sister. Another page. Psychological evaluation request. The notes are nearly illegible, but one phrase is underlined in red. Subject requested full dissociative suppression and memory extraction. Urgency, high risk, concealment. Your heart thuds. This isn't amnesia. This was surgical, intentional. You signed it. At the bottom, your name, Miles Travers. You haven't used that name in years. A handwritten memo slips from the file. It's addressed to someone named Dr. Lennox. The ink is shaky, rushed. The message reads, Subject Miles is volatile. If Kala recovers full memory first, initiate protocol mirror. Under no circumstances let them reconnect. Reconnect. Too late. You check the folder again. A blurry scan of an evidence bag. Inside it, a motel key. Room 211. You have that key. The photo in the file isn't the one from your box. It's a surveillance still. 4 people entering the motel. You, Kala, her sister, and the man from the parking lot. His name isn't listed. His face is blurred, but beneath the image is one typed phrase. Asset the stranger. Classification memory broker. You whisper the word without meaning to. Broker. You hear a scrape behind you. The man with the upside down paper is standing now. Find what you were looking for, he asks. You freeze. His voice is smooth, practiced, familiar, in the way poison might be quiet, clean, effective. Who are you? He smiles. The one you hired to bury you. He walks away before you can stop him, disappearing between rows of records. You race after him, but the hallway is empty. At your table, the file is gone, except for one sticky note left in its place. What you unearth will not stay dead. It was never about discovering the truth. It was about surviving it. You're being followed by yourself. The freeway hums beneath your tires, but you barely notice it. The folder is gone. So is the man. But your pulse still hammers like you're being chased by something faster than footsteps, by recognition. You replay it all in your head, the photographs, the motel, the sister you didn't save, the broker, your real name, Miles Travers. You feel like a crime you haven't solved yet. And the worst part, you know the answer is hiding inside you. At a rest stop, you pull into a far corner under a flickering floodlight. The security cameras above the convenience store rotate with lazy indifference. You walk in to buy water, maybe a few minutes of stillness. Inside, it smells like burnt coffee and old carpet. You ask the clerk if they have a restroom. He nods toward the back, then adds, You were just in here. Forgot something. You blink. No, I just arrived. He shrugs. Suit yourself. You enter the restroom slowly. The mirror above the sink is cracked in the center, splintered like a spider web. You wash your face, then freeze. There's someone behind you. In the mirror. Anyway, he's wearing your coat, your haircut, your posture. But you're alone in the room. You spin around. No one. You breathe hard. Look back. The mirror's empty again. You dry your hands and leave, shaken. Back in the car, you pull out your phone to check the dash cam motion activated. You skip back to the time you were in the store. There you are, walking toward the store. just like you remember. But then, 2 minutes later, you walk back out, holding a different bag, wearing sunglasses you don't own. You pause the video. It's your face. Exactly your face. Only your eyes. They look at the camera like they know it's there. You whisper, "That's not me." But something inside you whispers back, "Then who is it?" You rewind again, play it frame by frame. Something swings from the other you's hand. A motel key. Room 211. The glove, the photograph, the key you thought they were messages from the past. What if they're breadcrumbs from the present? What if you're not chasing your memories? What if you're chasing a version of yourself that never stopped doing what you forgot? You knew, but pretended you didn't. You peel out of the parking lot. Tires scream. You drive north, because that's the direction your double took. It was never about forgetting. It was about splitting. You call the only number you haven't erased from your burner phone. Kala answers before she can speak. You ask, "Did you ever meet someone who looked like me but wasn't me?" She goes quiet. Then, "Yes." "How long ago?" "Last week." You grip the wheel. Where he said he was going to finish what you started. She doesn't have to say where. You already know. The motel, the fire, the sister, the grave, and someone pretending to be you standing on all of it like a monument to a lie. Everyone lies. Especially the reflection. She knew you before you were you. You take back roads now. Pavement gives way to gravel. Street lights vanish. It's as if the world knows where you're going and wants to make sure no one follows, or maybe no one returns. You arrive just past dusk. A farmhouse. It looks like nothing. Peeling paint. Wind chimes made from bottle caps. A porch that moans when you step on it. But the moment you stop in the driveway, something tightens in your chest. You've never been here, but your bones disagree. The woman who answers the door is old, older than time. It feels a widow's black shawl wrapped tight around her shoulders. She looks at you like a mother, recognizing a child she buried long ago. "You finally made it back," she says. "I think you have me confused with—" She cuts you off with a shake of her head. "No, no. Miles, you were always a poor liar." The name hits like a backhand. She steps aside to let you in. Inside smells like lavender, firewood, and something sourer like rain on burned wood. She leads you to a chair by the fireplace, sits across from you, silent. "Finally," she says, "you don't remember me, do you?" You shake your head. She reaches into a cabinet and pulls out a stack of papers, drawings, some childish, some detailed. All of you, the same face, drawn again and again through the years. "You used to call me Aunt Marla," she says. "You came here the summer before it happened, brought your sister, left with a shadow. The drawings flutter in your hands. One of them is dated July 2008. You and your sister, standing beside a scarecrow. Its face is stitched into a grin. I wasn't there when the fire started." You say, "No." Marla agrees. "You were here, but someone else was in you." "What?" "The broker," she whispers. "He never just erases. He trades." You sit back. Your throat tightens. "You told him you'd give anything to forget." She continues. "He took your memories." "Yes, but they had to go somewhere, and they went into him." She nods. "He doesn't just look like you. He is you. The part that stayed behind. The part that remembers the screams, the guilt, the girl. Kala, your sister. Room 211. He has the memories. You have the guilt. And now he's walking around using your face like it owes him something." Marla gets up, opens a drawer, pulls out a music box, and places it in your hands. "Your sister gave you this. The last summer before she stopped speaking. You wind it. The melody stutters, broken, but a note slips out from the compartment inside. It's a child's drawing stick figures, you, she, her, and a little house labeled home. The corners are burned. She wanted you to come back, Marla says. Even after everything, she's gone. Marla looks at you with something between pity and exhaustion. Not entirely. You feel it then. A memory unsealing. Your sister's scream. The motel hallway. Her tiny hand slipping out of yours. And your feet turning the other way. Running. You left her. You chose to forget. Because remembering meant facing who you were. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Outside, a car engine hums to a stop. You move to the window. Your double steps out. Same coat, same posture, but something colder in the eyes. He looks up at the house. He smiles. It was never about erasing your past. It was about what filled the space after. The burned glove in the mailbox. You move toward the door, slow as blood cooling on linoleum. Marla grips your arm surprisingly strong. Don't open it, she says. That's not you. You nod, but your hand is already reaching for the deadbolt. Your body reacts like muscle memory, like a program running beneath your will, like some part of you recognizes the thing wearing your face. You crack the door. He's still at the bottom of the porch steps, leaning against your old car, smiling like he just solved a joke only you were cruel enough to tell. You left this, he says, holding up the duffel bag, the one with the box inside. You didn't bring it into the house. You thought it was still locked in your trunk. You stole that. He shrugs. Borrowed. We share everything, don't we? His voice is identical to yours, but the cadence is wrong. Too calm, too clean, like someone used your tone as a costume. You ask the only question that matters. Why now? He tilts his head. Because she's waking up. Kala. And if she remembers the truth before we merge, let's say it all unravels. You close the door, lock it. Marla's watching, her face ashen. You have to leave, she says. Why? Because he's not here to threaten. He's here to reclaim. You walk to the mailbox just beyond the porch. Something is sticking out. A glove. The same glove that appeared at your door. Black leather. Damp. The fabric scorched at the fingertips. A note tucked inside. You forgot what fire does. It spreads. Suddenly, the air feels heavier. You turn, and he's gone. Not the glove, not the bag. Him, vanished. You unlock the duffel. The box is still inside, but now, the photographs are rearranged. In a new one, your double stands in front of the motel ruins, one hand raised. Behind him, someone is tied to a chair. Kala. You flip it over. Written in ink, room 211. One last time. Marla sees the photo. Her lips move in silent prayer. You can't go alone, she says. I won't make her wait again. You whisper. She nods like she already knows. Before you leave, she gives you something, a small locket. Inside is a picture of your sister, younger, smiling. She gave this to me the night you disappeared. Marla says, said if you ever came back, I'd know what to do. You slide the locket into your pocket. The wind picks up, a whisper in the leaves. You always had two choices, Marla says as you step off the porch. Run toward the truth or burn with the lie. You don't answer. The road back to Devlin's is longer now, darker. Your headlights slice through mist. You think of fire, of ash, of the locked door and the scream behind it. You remember running, but this time, you're not running away. You're running Zack. It was never about redemption. It was about reckoning. The town you swore off is calling. You arrive in Devlin just past midnight. The town is smaller than you remember, like it's been shrinking ever since you left. Or maybe it's you who grew, stretched by guilt, warped by forgetting. Main Street is deserted, stores long closed, windows dark, but the signs are still there. Riley's Diner, Westman's Pharmacy, Peterson's Feed, ghosts wearing their own names. You pass the old church. The steeple is cracked, the cross bent like it's exhausted from too many prayers unanswered. For a moment, you think you see someone standing in the graveyard across the street, but when you blink, the silhouette is gone. The motel comes into view like a memory that never quite fades. Devlin's, still burned, still broken, still standing. You park across the street, heart thudding like it knows this time. There's no turning back. You reach into the glove box and pull out the locket Marla gave you. Open it. Your sister's face, eyes like yours, but brighter. You whisper to her, "I'm sorry. I should have stayed." You step out. The wind bites. Each footstep toward the wreckage feels like a sentence being served. Inside, the structure is more skeletal than you remembered. Fire ripped the soul out of it, but the bones remain. Room 211's door is still somehow upright. Charred, yes, but waiting. There's light flickering beneath it, candlelight. You grip the key, slide it into the lock, turn. It clicks. You step inside. The room is identical to your nightmares. Melted wallpaper, half a mattress, the scent of smoke woven into the floorboards. Kala is there, tied to the chair, awake, gagged, eyes wide not in fear, but fury. Before you can move, the door slams shut behind you. He's here, you, but not you. You finally made it, he says, stepping out of the corner like a wolf returning to its den. I'm here to finish it. You say, no, he replies. You're here to remember. He circles you, slow, methodical. Do you know what they never tell you about splitting your mind? He whispers. You don't just lose memories. You lose ownership. You reach for Kala, but he blocks you. You handed me everything. The guilt, the screams, the fire. I kept them so you could smile in mirrors again. He throws the duffel at your feet. Now you want to take it all back. You unzip it. The box is open. Photos everywhere. On the floor, on the walls. A timeline of your sins. He leans in, whispering, you didn't forget. You volunteered. You paid a broker with something priceless, your conscience. You lunge. Fists collide. You crash into the wall. Dust and ash rise around you like smoke returning for one last breath. He slams you down. You left her. He growls. You heard her scream. You ran. You look at Kala. Tears fall. But she nods, urging you to remember. He pins you, presses your face against the floor. You're not a victim, he whispers. You're the reason she's dead. But then, a sound, a metallic click. Kala, she's free. And she's holding the locket. She throws it. It hits your double square in the face. For 1 second, just one, he flinches. You drive your knee into his ribs. He stumbles back. The room flickers. His face distorts, like a photograph catching fire. He looks at you one last time. You're not ready, he says, then vanishes, not in a flash, in a fade, like a bad signal finally lost. You collapse. Kala kneels beside you, hands shaking. He's gone. You say. She stares at you. Not gone, just back where he came from. You knew, but pretended you didn't. And now you remember everything. It was never about confronting him. It was about accepting you. You lied under oath, but forgot why. You leave Devlin before sunrise. hands on the wheel, eyes raw from what you saw and what you now know. Kala sleeps in the passenger seat, arms crossed, the same way she did when she was 10, and refused to admit she was tired. You glance at her, then at the road ahead. You don't know where you're going, but for the first time in a long time, you're not running from something. You're driving into it. 3 hours later, you arrive at the county courthouse, the one with the marble steps and the columns so clean they always looked fake. The clerk at the front desk doesn't look up when you approach. Name, Miles Travers. Her hands freeze over the keyboard. You're not dead. You stare. Should I be? She clicks something. Scrolls. According to court records, you disappeared after testifying in 2009. Your mouth goes dry. Testifying in what state versus Lennox? You feel that name like a crack in your spine. Dr. Lennox, the one from the memo in the archive, the one who orchestrated your suppression, the one who wiped the blood clean and called it therapy. You ask for the file. She hesitates. It's sealed. You slide your expired press ID across the counter, then unseal it. Minutes later, you sit in a gray room under flickering lights, opening a file labeled Confidential. Witness immunity granted. Page 1. Transcript of witness testimony. Name, Miles Travers. Date, July 14th, 2009. Location, sealed courtroom. Psychiatric branch. Presiding Judge, Honan. Madeline Cray. Your statement is recorded in shaky dialogue, typed word for word. You read, I didn't kill anyone. I don't remember anything. Dr. Lennox said, it's best that way. I don't want to know. The next part. If Gala testifies, I'll never survive what comes after. Please, just make her forget too. A pause. Then a note added by the stenographer. Witness was visibly distressed. Repeated phrase. I can't be that person again. Another page. Legal notes subject agreed to permanent memory disassociation in exchange for immunity. Procedure authorized by court-sanctioned psychiatric authority. Witness to be placed under supervised anonymity. Relocation. Subject name change approved. You read the next line 3 times. New identity Miles Garrett. You drop the paper. That's the name you've been using. Your whole adult life built on an erased name, a fabricated innocence, and the hope that no one would ever piece it together, except someone did. Your reflection, the broker. He remembered so you wouldn't have to. Everyone lies, especially the ones protected by law. You look up at the security camera in the corner of the record room. You're not sure who's watching, but someone is. You close the file, but your hand pauses. There's one more document. A fax, received 2 days ago, from an unknown sender. It reads, he's back, and he wants her. Room 211 isn't finished. Your heart pounds. You whisper, he's not gone. Gala appears in the doorway, pale, quiet. He's in me now, she says. Just a little, just enough. You stand. Everything inside you sharpens. It was never about what you lied about. It was about why you believed it was better to forget than to face what the truth would cost. The therapist you never hired. The waiting room smells like lemon disinfectant and artificial calm. You sit on a couch that's too soft, next to a potted plant that's either dying or plastic. The receptionist doesn't look up when you say your name. Miles Travers. You say quietly. Then, to her silence, or Garrett, depending on which lie we're using today, she gives you a clipboard and a form that asks, what brings you here? You scribble a single word, truth. When your name is called, the man who greets you is in his mid-60s, wire-rimmed glasses, cardigan. He offers a handshake with an understanding smile. far too rehearsed. Dr. Ellis Lennox. He says, you stare at him. You're supposed to be disbarred or in prison. He nods calmly. I was for a while. Then they let me out. Something about emerging therapeutic science. Memory forensics became trendy again. Ironic, isn't it? He gestures for you to sit. You don't. You stole my memories. You say, you carved me into two people. No, Miles, he replies, crossing his legs. You asked me to. The air feels thinner in here. He slides open a drawer and pulls out a file. Same logo as the courthouse. Inside photos, scans of brain charts, handwritten notes in your own handwriting. Memory broker protocol. Active. You flip the pages. Diagrams of your mind like a crime scene. Neural pathways redirected. Emotional receptors isolated. You said it would help. You whisper. You begged for it. He corrects. You couldn't live with what you did. So we locked it away. You paid me with your truth, and I gave you peace. Peace you bark. You created a monster. You left him behind in that motel. Now he's wearing my face. He nods slowly. Yes, that was a side effect. The broker doesn't vanish. He simply waits until the suppressed version weakens. You stand. Then make him go away. Doctor. Lennox steeples his fingers. I can't. Not anymore. He's too rooted, too aware. You lean over the desk. Then, what do I do? He leans back, calm as a corpse. You integrate. A long silence. I kill him. You ask? No. You remember him. You absorb him. You become whole. I don't want him. You are him. He stands and walks to the wall, slides a picture aside. Behind it, a mirror. You see yourself in it, but only for a second. Then him, smiling, smirking, then gone. You look to Lennox. He's watching you with something like pride. The moment you remember why you left her, he'll weaken. I didn't leave her. You snap. He arches a brow. No. Your hands tremble. He slides a final document across the table. A transcript. A recorded session. You reading your own words under hypnosis. She was screaming. I saw the flames. I didn't go back. Why not? Lennox asked in the tape. Because I was afraid. She'd see what I'd done. Your breath leaves your lungs like it's been evicted. You see Calla, her face, her fury, her grief. You didn't just run from the fire. You ran from what she knew. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The session ends. The tape hisses. Then static morphs into another voice. His voice. The broker. He whispers, now you remember. Now we begin. You stagger out of the office. Calla is waiting in the car, eyes locked on yours, through the glass. Did he help? She asks. You sit. Close the door. He gave me a map. You say, to what? You look down, at your hands, at your face in the mirror, to the place where I buried myself. It was never about therapy. It was about permission. The mirror doesn't match your face. You check into a motel that night, under a name that doesn't belong to you, one of the dozen you've worn like coats through the years. The clerk doesn't look up. No one ever does. Inside the room, the air is too still, too expectant. You lock the door, chain it, slide the nightstand in front just in case. But you know he doesn't need a key. He's already here. The mirror above the sink hums with anticipation. You don't want to look, but you do. At first, it's just your face, tired, bruised with memory. Then something shifts. Not a blink, not a flinch, just a mismatch. Your reflection tilts its head before you do, smirks when your mouth is still straight. There's something wrong with your eyes, like someone changed the locks behind them. You're not real. You whisper. He raises an eyebrow in the glass. Neither are you. You throw the towel over the mirror. It slides off seconds later, as if spit out. Your phone buzzes. An unknown number. You answer. His voice is casual. Crisp, right behind your ear. Nice place. Bit small, but you've always preferred a room you can see the corners of, haven't you? You don't answer. You felt it. He continues. In the therapist's office, in Devlin, when Kala looked at you and didn't flinch, that was the moment. The moment for what? For surrender? You're cracking. I'm pouring in. You hang up. Silence. Then the TV turns on by itself. Static. Then footage. Security cam grain. You, at the motel door, holding the match. Then the girl, running. Your sister. But this version isn't how you remembered. This version shows something else. You locking the door. Twice. You stumbling backward. Her screaming your name. And you turning your face flat. Expressionless. Not frightened. Not broken. Just done. The screen goes black. You sit on the edge of the bed. You don't cry. You just stop. You feel it then. A fracture in your mind. The broker isn't pressing in. He's coming from inside. What you gave up wasn't just memory. It was your capacity to believe you were the good guy. You whisper, "What am I?" The mirror answers. The truth's reflection. The TV flickers back on. This time, a news anchor's voice. A breaking story. Authorities have reopened the Devlin motel case after anonymous evidence was mailed to the local police. A voice recording, presumed authentic, reveals new details. One name appears over and over again. Miles Travers. You turn off the TV. Your fingerprints are back on the world. It was never about running from your reflection. It was about recognizing it. The phone buzzes again. Text message from an unsaved number. She's waiting. Same room. This time, don't lock the door. Everyone lies, especially the mirrors. They buried the truth next to you. The cemetery is quiet in the way old secrets are sullen, watchful, unwilling to speak first. You stand among the rows of weather-warped stones, Kala by your side. Neither of you speaks as the wind runs slow fingers through the overgrown grass. You didn't tell her where you were going. She just got in the car when you opened the door, like she'd been expecting this all along. You walk until you find it. The grave, your name on the stone. Miles Travers, 1985-2008, beloved son, never came home. You swallow nothing. I remember now. You say. Kala kneels, brushes moss from the base. They buried your past, not your body. You nod. Symbolic death. It was part of the deal. The broker made it look complete, final, so no one would dig. But someone did, she says. Me. Your eyes sting. You want to thank her. You want to curse her. You want to erase what you just remembered again. But you don't. You open the satchel you brought. Inside the locket, the burned glove, the motel key, the final photograph. You place them on the grave like offerings. Kala hands you something, her old bracelet, a woven piece of thread and beads you vaguely remember making with her at a summer camp. Neither of you finished. You take out the last photo, the one that haunts you most, your double, holding your sister's hand, standing in front of the motel. Except it wasn't your sister. It was you. You holding her hand. You. Before the fire. Before the fracture. Kala stares. You weren't the villain in the beginning. She says, just scared. Used. But then I kept it going. You say, I kept the silence. You survived. She replies. And you thought that meant you had to lie. You bury the photo. One handful of earth at a time. The wind picks up. Behind you, a shadow moves among the trees. You tense, but Kala touches your shoulder. Don't, she says. He wants you to chase him. You let the shadow vanish. Instead, you look at the grave one last time and carve something beneath the name with your keys, still living, still learning. A clumsy truth, but it's yours. As you walk back to the car, you glance at the town below. Devlin sleeps like a body in denial, somewhere in its marrow. The broker is watching, but he's not alone anymore. You have your name back, and your past, and something even more dangerous, a reason to remember. Everyone lies, especially the ones who bury evidence in daylight. The clock only ticks for you. You hear it before you see it. Tick, tick, tick. It's not your car's engine, not your wristwatch. It's coming from the passenger seat. Kala lifts a small box from under her coat. The cardboard is water-stained, wrapped in butcher's twine. No return address. We found it on the porch this morning. She says, I didn't want to open it alone. You don't ask why she brought it. You already know. Inside is a pocket watch. Antique. Brass. Still ticking. The hands move counterclockwise. Engraved across the back. Time doesn't heal, it reveals. You don't remember owning it, but it feels heavy in your palm. Familiar. There's something else inside the box, an old matchbook. Devlin's Motel, room 211 circled in ink, and one final item, a torn receipt. A gas station purchase from August 14th, 2008, time stamped 11:06 p.m. You flip it over. Kala's handwriting. You left me at this exact minute. The car is too quiet now. The world too wide. You roll down the window. Let the night in. Tick, tick. Kala speaks. Her voice a cracked whisper. He's still inside you. I see it sometimes. In your silence. In your sleep. You nod. He'll always be there. You say. She looks at you. But you're louder now. She adds, you close the box. Place the pocket watch in the glove compartment. Later that night, in the motel room, you can't sleep. The ceiling has water stains shaped like questions. You stare until they start to move. In the mirror, your reflection sits still, waiting. You stand, walk to it, stare hard, and then, without warning, the mirror blinks. Your reflection stays frozen. Then it smiles. Tick. You step back. Your breath fogs the glass. Words appear, slowly, like condensation, shaped by breath from the other side. There's one more room. You look to Kala, asleep. You know what this means. You reach into your coat pocket. The motel key is gone. Tick. You check the doorknob. Room 211. But you didn't book this room. And now the watch is ticking louder from the inside. You sit back on the bed, exhaling. He's calling again. You whisper to no one. But the silence answers anyway, because he's not just a memory. He's a time bomb. And the countdown has started again. It was never about time healing all wounds. It was about what the clock knew before you were ready. Your twin was never born. The next day begins like a bruise, slow, tender, already aching. You wake up before the sun, the motel room dim with that same bleached light you remember from childhood, the kind that creeps in when no one's ready for it. Kala's still asleep, curled up with her coat as a blanket. She stirs slightly when you move, murmuring something you can't make out. A name, maybe, or a warning. You dress quietly, slide the motel key back into your pocket, even though you swore you left it in the glove box. Outside, the parking lot hums with quiet tread. You sit on the hood of your car, watching fog slither through the pines, and that's when the envelope appears, taped to your windshield. White, no markings, heavy. Inside is a birth certificate, yours. But it doesn't list one name, it lists two. Miles Travers, live birth, 1985. Michael Travers, stillbirth, 1985. Your hand starts to tremble. You flip the document over. Scribbled on the back, only one of you lived, but both of you remember. You stagger back, breath caught like glass in your throat. Michael, the broker, never took a name, but he always had your face, your voice, your instincts. He wasn't an intruder. He was your missing half, not metaphorical, not poetic, real. A twin, one declared dead, one declared living. But what if that declaration was the lie? Kala appears behind you, hair wild from sleep. She sees the paper. Her eyes narrow. You didn't know. I thought he was something I made up. A fracture, a coping mechanism. She shakes her head. You both existed. One in the world, one in the cracks. You sit down hard on the curb. The pieces come fast now. The gaps in your childhood. The moments when your mother said, "You're lucky to be here." The closed bedroom down the hall. The family photos with someone always just out of frame. Michael wasn't erased by fire. He was hidden by denial. You remember the games, the mirror conversations, the dreams where you weren't sure which one of you was dreaming. You remember the fire. Michael screaming from the room you locked because you believed it was just another hallucination. You thought you were locking away madness, but you were burying blood. It was never about guilt. It was grief, mutated into something feral. The door behind you creaks. The motel room. You both turn. Room 211 is ajar. A breeze moves through it like an invitation. Inside, a voice whispers, "One of us was never meant to leave." Gala grips your arm. If he's your twin, you finish the sentence. Then he doesn't want revenge. He wants balance. You look at her, then back at the door. The motel key hums in your hand like it's alive. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The split wasn't survival. It was a birthright. And now, the twin who wasn't born wants his time back. The interview that never happened. It's not a television studio, but it feels like one. Room 211 has changed. It's no longer ash and ruin. It's clean now, impossibly so. The walls are painted, the carpet unburned. A leather chair sits in the center beneath a harsh spotlight, as if waiting for a confession. You step inside. No creak, no scent of smoke, only a low hum, like static behind wallpaper. Kala follows, silent. Then you see it, a camcorder on a tripod, already recording. Beside it, a cassette tape, labeled in neat handwriting, "Miles Travers, final statement." You exchange a look with Kala. She gives a single nod and retreats into the shadows. Her presence, a tether, keeping you from unraveling too fast. You sit. The spotlight heats your skin. You press play. The screen on the camcorder flickers, snowy static. Then your face, but not as you are now. Older, harsher, hair slicked back, eyes darker. A quiet confidence that doesn't belong to you. The broker, Michael. He leans toward the lens. If you're watching this, congratulations. You remembered enough to come find me. He smirks. The bad news, you're out of time. The good news, I'm not angry anymore. You gripped the arms of the chair. I spent my whole life in your shadows, buried, muted, blamed for feelings you didn't want to admit you had. Fear, shame, rage. You got the sunlight. I got the fire. The screen glitches for a moment, but I saw everything you saw. I heard every lie you told, especially the ones to yourself. He leans closer. The screen almost feels hot. You told Kala I died. You said I never existed. But the truth is, I was always right behind you. I am your memory of what couldn't be forgiven. I am the scream you locked in that burning room. Your breath catches. This isn't vengeance. Miles, this is equilibrium. The tape ends. The camcorder pops the cassette out, then dies completely. The room is silent until a voice behind you. You were always the better speaker. You turn. He's there. Michael. No longer a reflection. No longer a flicker in the glass. Just real. Same face, same voice, but a different weight in his presence. Heavy. Rooted. I'm not here to fight, he says. You nod slowly. Then why to merge? He replies. The word curls around your spine like smoke. You whisper. I don't know who I'll be if I let you in. He smiles. Someone honest. Kala steps forward. You're both broken. Maybe together. You make something whole. You glance at her. She's not afraid. You look back at Michael. He extends his hand. You hesitate. Then take it. Everything sharpens, floods in. Memories like wildfire. Your sister's first laugh. The night you saw your mother cry through the cracked door. The motel. The locked room. Michael screaming your name. You never forgot. You just chose which half of you got to survive. And now, the division fades. You feel it. Not death, not madness. Completion. Michael looks at you one last time, nods, and vanishes. Not as a ghost, as a memory returning home. Kala walks to you, places a hand on your shoulder. You look different. You nod. I feel exact. It was never about the truth being buried. It was about the part of you buried with it. And now, you've been exhumed. The room full of you. You don't remember driving there. The storage unit stands in the middle of nowhere, tucked behind an industrial park full of dead businesses and rusted signage. The number above the door is 143, though you could have sworn it used to be 111. You're not sure if it's memory, magic, or something in between. Kala found the key inside the motel room's desk drawer, just after Michael disappeared. This was always part of it, she said, like someone reciting the final verse of a curse. You slide the key into the lock, turn, the overhead light flickers to life with a heavy buzz. Inside are shelves, boxes, files, tape reels, clothing racks hung with identical jackets, tapes labeled with your name, and photos, hundreds of photos. You, at every age, smiling, crying, bleeding, sleeping. Some you recognize, family photos you forgot existed, but others, you never lived them. You in places you've never been, with people you don't know, wearing expressions you've never made. Kala walks beside you, eyes scanning a row of documents. It's a vault, she says, for everything he couldn't carry in his body. Michael, you realize it now. While you lived in denial, he lived in preservation. The broker didn't just remember, he collected a whole archive of your sins, your vanities, your lies, your moments of weakness, bottled and sorted by year. You step deeper inside. A cassette player rests on a metal desk in the corner, labeled Confession, Room 211. You press play. Your voice, but not just yours, a blend. You and Michael. I saw her hands reaching. I turned away. I told myself I was scared, but it was worse than that. I didn't think I was worth saving, so I ran and let her stay behind. Kala stiffens beside you. I didn't know you remembered that. I didn't. You say, not until now. You walk to a nearby cabinet, open it. Inside dozens of small boxes, each labeled with a fragment of your past. The first lie, the first flame, the last door. Gala picks one up. How did he collect all this? You shake your head, because I never threw it away. I just stored it somewhere I wouldn't go. The room pulses around you. This is where everything you couldn't face lived. All the versions of you that weren't brave enough to speak. And now they stare back from glossy photographs, from worn notes, from old audio reels whispering secrets that only you were foolish enough to forget. You knew, but pretended you didn't. But now, you walk back to the door, reach into the box labeled The Last Door. Inside is a photograph of you and Kala, the real one, at age 10 and 12, smiling on a pier, written on the back in child's handwriting. Before we got lost, Kala sees it. Her eyes shine, but she doesn't cry. She just nods. Ready. You walk out into the dying sun. I think so, you say. Finally, the door shuts behind you with a gentle finality. It was never about destroying the past. It was about reclaiming it piece by painful piece. The letter that ends the game. The envelope arrives by courier. No return address. No postage. Just your name, miles written in ink that bleeds slightly. Like it wasn't meant to wait long. You're back at Marla's now. The farmhouse feels smaller. Or maybe you're larger, fuller. Like you've absorbed the shadows instead of just walking through them. Kala watches from the porch as you slice the letter open. Inside is a single page. Handwritten, familiar script. Michael's, we could have stayed separate forever. You know that, don't you? You were strong enough to keep me buried. Quiet, contained. I would have waited. I always wait. That's what I do. But you came back. You swallow hard. The wind shifts. The trees creak like old doors being opened. I wasn't supposed to exist. I wasn't born. I was left behind. You survived the fire. I became it. But here's what I've learned. Watching you try to forget, the mind doesn't want peace. It wants truth. There's something else folded inside a newspaper clipping. Devlin. Mystery solved body. Identified in decades-old motel fire. It's your sister? The remains were found under the floorboards of room 211 during a demolition order last week. There's a quote from the coroner. This discovery ends a long closed chapter, but opens other questions. You read the article again. Then, back to the letter. She waited for us to come back. She knew we would. That's why she stayed behind. And you gave me your guilt and ran. Now I give it back. At the bottom, a final line. This game ends when you stop pretending you're two people. You drop the letter because you feel it before you see it. The second envelope, still sealed. This one's addressed to Kala. You hand it to her. Wordless, she reads in silence, then folds the letter into her coat pocket and looks at you. What did it say, you ask? She pauses. Then, he said, I'm the only one who can finish this. You're about to ask what she means when Marla calls you both in. There's something in the cellar, she says. You should see it. The house swells with memory as you follow her down. At the bottom of the steps, in the cold earth and dust, is a trunk. Inside journals, taped together pages from you, from her, from someone unnamed. Maps, timelines, photos. A handwritten note on top Kedeshors for when the truth comes home. Home. Kala kneels, sorting through the contents like someone handling a long-dead loved one's remains. You find another photograph. All three of you. Miles, Michael, Kala, smiling. Maybe for real. Kala speaks without looking up. I think we found everything we needed to find. You nod. Then it's over. No, she says. Now it starts. You don't understand. Not fully. But you don't have to. Because the next part isn't about remembering. It's about becoming. It was never about winning the game. It was about refusing to play by the old rules. You were the stranger all along. The sky cracks open with thunder as you approach the motel ruins one last time. A summer storm, fat and slow, gathering over Devlin like it knows the town has one last secret to spit out. You park on the shoulder. Kala walks ahead of you, quiet, determined. She carries the trunk from Marla's cellar, packed with the letters, photos, the last cassette, even the key. You bring the matchbook. There's nothing left of room 211 now, just scorched dirt, some melted rebar, the footprint of a foundation. The storm washed away the last of the soot, but the outline of a door remains in the mud, and you know what it is now. Not an exit, not an escape. A mirror. Kala kneels in the center and begins to dig, bare hands scraping through the soaked earth until the last item is uncovered. The watch. The one that ticked backward. The one Michael left for you. You take it, wind it forward. Tick, tick, tick. Normal time now. Yours, not his. She hands you the last cassette, the one neither of you dared to play before. You slide it into the old portable player. The buttons stick, the tape hisses. Then, if you're hearing this, you've made it to the end, or the beginning. Same thing. I'm not your ghost anymore. I'm your consequence. Michael's voice, but softer. We weren't supposed to split, but we did. You got the world. I got the memory. But that's over now. Tell her I remember. Tell her I stayed because she deserved at least one witness. Tell her, thank you. The tape ends. No rewind button. Just silence. Kala lights a match. Drops it into the pit. The trunk catches. You both watch it burn. No fear this time. No secrets. No more strangers in mirrors. You turn to her. What now? She shrugs. Live. The question in her eyes is clear. Can you live with yourself now? You nod. Not because you're certain, but because you're finally willing to find out. The rain starts. Gentle. Cleansing. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Now you know. It was never about the fire. It was about what the fire left behind. Not ash. You, whole, scarred, and ready. End of script. Sleep well, and watch your back.